I absolutely love going to the thrift store, and when I find a piece of furniture and I see it and I'm like, I know exactly what I'm gonna do with that, I get really excited. And that happened when I spotted this desk at the thrift store. I thought it was really cool on the side, and the best part is it was only $20. I have this little alcove area that I really wanted a desk for. I've been searching around for something small, and this was the perfect price. I really liked the wood color, so I didn't want to change that up, but I did want to put something on the top. You can see on the side of the desk, there's a vertical lines. I wanted to continue those lines up to the top by just bringing them up. So I measured how far apart those vertical lines were, and they were about 8 inches. I decided I was going to create kind of like a table runner along the top with paint and stencils. I measured 6 inches on each side, and then I added in some frog painter's tape to just mark those lines. Once I had 3 marks, I took a long piece of my painter's tape and put it so that it was nice and straight. And I repeated that on the other side. Now, one of my tricks for getting really affordable paint is to buy it in paint samples. Paint samples are usually really inexpensive, and you can have them made up any color that you want. I'm going to use one of my blue paint samples and paint in the middle. And I'm going to do 2 coats of paint. I wanted to create a stencil to go along the top, so I needed to use my Cricut to cut it out. I want to thank Cricut for sponsoring today's video. Most of you are familiar with a Cricut, but Cricut is simply a smart cutting machine that allows you to personalize your projects. Really, you can use Cricut with hundreds of different materials, and when you get your Cricut machine, it comes with a free software called Design Space that you can use either on your phone or your desktop computer. The Design Space is really cool because you can create your own designs, or you can choose from hundreds of designs that are already in the Design Space. I kind of like to do a combination of both. Sometimes I create my own designs, sometimes I use ones that Cricut already has. Now for this desk stencil, I went with a stencil that was already created in Design Space. I went in and I sized that stencil to the correct size that I wanted it to be, and then I duplicated it so I would have a couple of stencils. I ended up cutting out 4 of these stencils. Once you have your design the way you like it, you can send it to cut. Now the machine that I'm using is the Cricut Explorer 3. This is one of Cricut's newest machines. I have to say the Cricut Explorer 3 is a pretty awesome machine. It cuts hundreds of different materials. It cuts about 2 times faster than normal Cricut machines. It also is compatible with smart materials. I feel like Cricut did a really good job upgrading this machine because when I cut out materials, they're super accurate. Once my stencil was cut out, I weeded it out. Now when your paint is completely dry, then you can add your stencil on, and I'm just gonna start on one end and put it down, and then I'm gonna use Waverly white chalk paint and a foam brush, and I'll just stipple on the paint. Now, I don't wait for the paint to dry. I immediately pull the stencil up. I feel like this helps with lines and making sure it looks nice and crisp. And then I'm going to continue by putting another stencil down. I'm gonna try my best to line it up so it goes in a consecutive line. Now, one of the reasons I like using these Cricut stencils is I appreciate the sticky on the back. That really helps whenever you're doing a stencil to not have that bleed through underneath with your paint. Now I'll continue adding my stencils and adding my paint till I get to the end of my project. This thrifted desk has totally been transformed. It's now personalized, and I think it's gonna be perfect in my space. Next, I wanted to show you an inexpensive wall art piece. Now, I've saved a ton of money by using my Cricut machine to create some of my wall art pieces. For this project, you're gonna need 11 by 14 frames. These are ones I already had on hand from Walmart, as well as 2 black poster boards. Recently, I learned how to do the foil technique on Cricut, and I have to tell you, I was really nervous to do this at first. I thought, oh, that's gonna be so tricky, so hard. I definitely want to show you guys how easy it was to do so that maybe you might want to try it in a future project. Again, I'm gonna be using a graphic from the design space because Cricut has some really cool foil designs. I'm gonna pull that up into the design space. Now the thing with this one is you have to pull down the menu that says that you're planning to foil it instead of cutting it. That's really key here whenever you're doing foiling. Once I size my image the way I want, I'm going to send it to the cutting machine. Now you are going to need a couple more tools for this. Cricut has a special blade called the Foil Transfer Kit. You're gonna need that blade, but it's really easy. All you have to do is pull out your old blade and put this one in. It's really easy to change out. Now for your mat, let me show you how to put that together. You're going to use your 12 by 12 mat and you're gonna start by putting down a poster board. Now my poster boards I cut down so that they were 11 by 14 and I created 2 of them. I'm gonna put the 11 by 14 black poster board down on my mat. Then I'm gonna take a 12 by 12 foil sheet and put it down over the black poster board. One of the things I recommend is to tape down the foil around the edges. This is going to help keep it in place while it's in the cutting machine. So once you do that, all you have to do is load it into your machine, set it to cut. It's gonna ask you like what materials you're using, if you have the right cutting tools, and then you can cut it out. You can remove the foil after it's done cutting, and I have to tell you, it looks so cool. I absolutely love it. I did create a second one, but I did it as a mirror image from my first one. I went in and cut out both of my posters so I didn't have that border line. And then I traced and cut out another 11 by 14 frame. I E6000 my poster board to the other poster board, kind of just creating like a black mat to it. And then I put them back into my frames. I think they look so elegant. You could really customize this. You could change the colors of it to be whatever colors work for you, but I love the way these frames turned out. Hey guys, I'm Liz and you're watching my second DIY channel where I post daily DIY videos. You may be familiar with my main channel, Liz Fenwick DIY, but I'm glad that you found me over here on my second channel. Make sure that you're subscribed so you just get notified every day when I post our daily DIY video.